Hi guys, welcome to today's video. In today's video, we will be continuing our Alternate Future of the United States series. And we will start with one major event this pack divides into two. It's a green pact. It's going to be with the Central American states, the Central USA. It's going to be made with Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Missouri, which is claimed by a few nations, with New York declaring war at this point on somebody else. They declare war as they're trying to build strength on their northern neighbor of New England. Ruled with its capital, instead of being Maine like it originally was, they moved the capital to Boston. They moved the capital from Augusta. No, actually, it was originally Bangor, their capital, but then they moved it to Boston. With New York ready for this war, even though it lost most of its people. Which it did, probably. I think it has 20 million and like 8 million people live in New York. And yeah. So it almost lost most of its people. And then around the city, there's loads of people. So yeah. But they still have a few cities, which is great. With aid coming from the Great Lakes Pact, to them, but the Midwest Pact is sending troops to New York. But with a stronger pact sending troops to them. But it looks unlikely this war will be ended that easy, as these troops are now marching into Maine. And they managed to get to one of the cities in Maine, I guess. Might be there. And then they move up against the Canadian border, and yeah. This pact, trying to lose the least amount of land it can, eventually gives up and signs peace with the New York State, New York country. New York country. And yeah, let's see how the treaty went. Some of Vermont, a tiny bit of Massachusetts, most of Massachusetts, a tiny bit of Vermont, all of Rhode Island, and all of Colorado. No, not Colorado, Connecticut. Parts of New Hampshire, Maine, most of Vermont, and tiny parts of Massachusetts were taken by New York, but they maintained their independence and they just changed their name back to Massachusetts, which might cause a stir. And the Great Lakes Pact has realized if they lose this war, that's probably inevitable to happen. Well, then yeah. With it happening suddenly, with a shooting supposedly, Michigan launches a jet from Detroit, and it goes like this, and supposedly it went through here, and then right here, it bombed. It's denied by, so this is denied by Minnesota, so this happens. They merge their troops in, I guess, slightly, and there's an incursion here, so yeah. So now they end up at war. After this incursion, they declare war on Michigan. Michigan is mad at Wisconsin. Wisconsin and Michigan enters into a conflict zone. And it's a big conflict, as right now they have these lands. And right now it's not that big of a deal, because it's like partially both sides are at a stalemate, kinda. Except advancing. They're not really making advances, because they're both advancing. And this kinda happens. With a big change happening. This is where the war gets very much bigger as both sides call in their friends. New York doesn't intervene because there's like no point. California is debating whether it should intervene or not. Texas is too. But Illinois, although prepared, these troops advance further than they anticipate. They move into Virginia pretty far, into southern Indiana, and they're steamrolling Illinois to a point where they have Chicago and they take Springdale, and they kind of have the country in a bit of trouble as the city gets taken, and Michigan did not expect this. So Michigan basically has these troops rolling in on two fronts now. They fall out of the peninsula. They fall back to about there. With it now becoming more and more likely to become a stalemate. Let's look at what the U.S. once looked like. So this is what it looks like now, but this is what it used to look like. Beginning of this series, look, there's not 50 countries still. But otherwise, territories have stayed the same, so yeah. With it becoming more and more increasingly a stalemate, as this is what it looks like. With Michigan just basically moving troops out there to make a one front for both sides. No big make a landing in the Michigan. With the troops being split. Chicago has requested Ohio doesn't let them move troops through. So troops move around. Texas enters a war wanting a bit of land. But with wanting the rest of Montana, they join. And yeah. The turning point has come with everybody joining the war because they want land. Everyone has become power hungry, it looks. And it looks like the central USA states are going to collapse. Most likely they doubt it, but yeah. Now this being such a big attack that they're forced to move troops out of here. Stabilizing the front there with Michigan now able to make a landing. There are certain places can't land because, yeah, they aren't coastal anymore. On the other side of things, the advances over here are a bit stable. It looks bad for this, as the Texan front is doing really well. Although having lost a war with California in past episodes, they're really strengthened. I think the alternate feature of the USA series is a good series that I'm going to continue. And so is the alternate history of the world. They're all great series. With the fall of Wisconsin, Missouri has lost both, or losing on two front lines. It looks like Iowa is going to be gave independence. With Minnesota just leaving the war before they can really have damage to their economy. With the rest of the front line of the Great Lakes Pact just surrendering. And everyone's ready for peace. Pacific Pact, which will be, I think that's Kansas. Yep, it is Kansas. Wyoming is what it is. And they got a new member which is Iowa. But there's two votes being held to see what Wisconsin wants to do, and Missouri, which are struggling right now. So they all vote to unite with the Midwest Confederation, which lost a huge amount of land just then. Texas is humongous. They're ready to take on the Confederates, who are really buffing up. So basically, the longer we wait, the more and more this border is getting bloody. Both sides have hundreds of thousands of troops lined up in this area. That's a huge spot of contention. Another huge spot of contention is up here. But less. More just protecting their borders from each other because they don't know what the other will do. Because they're both empires, keep in mind. And the Pacific States is thinking of uniting into one nation. But those talks are slowing. But here's some good news about this series. Up here, their compliance together as a team is doing much better. But all pacts fall. All federations fall at one point. The New England pact. With New York still. Oh wait, a border dispute just came in, guys, with New York and New Jersey, which basically New York is claiming this land. So yeah, that'll be what it'll be like until it's solved. With a vote being held in New York City, because the New York City people force it to happen, and they luckily they vote in favor of joining New York. And they vote in favor in these lands. The rest don't. And just like that, they have figured out the border dispute, guys. The friendly way. And New York is back to its former glory. Florida, the strongest nations, I would say, is California, Texas, Cascadia, Florida, Virginia, New York, then Virginia, then Illinois, then I'd say Michigan, and then probably the Midwest Union. But you wouldn't think it would still be strong after it's lost, but it is still strong, and it's ready for vengeance. Its military budget has went up 250% since this dispute failure, with a guy with a weird mustache getting elected there. And yeah, who's angry. And will they get away with what they're doing? Right now, they're fighting with Texas. They're fighting with everyone. Like, yeah, they're going to be so powerful, fighting with everyone. What are they going to do? Launch listics. Just kidding. That's not going to happen, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Today's video, that means a lot. And please subscribe. Why should you subscribe? We're at 793 subscribers, which is 7 away from our goal of 800 subscribers by August 1st. So if you could, please subscribe. And that's all for today's video. Wild Mapper out. But not until you subscribe.